Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Resilience, watching the swirling nebula that had hidden humanity's greatest secret for the past 50 years. Around her, holographic displays showed the positions of 3,000 ships, a fleet so vast it defied the imagination of those who had cast Earth into the darkness between stars. "Ma'am," Commander Torres reported, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were about to undertake. "All fleet commanders are reporting ready. The Galactic Council's patrol routes have been confirmed. We have a clear window." Sarah nodded, her weathered hands clasped behind her back. 50 years ago, she had been a child when the Council's verdict came down like a hammer blow upon humanity's hopes. The charges were numerous: aggressive expansion, refusal to submit to galactic law, and the cardinal sin of developing technology without Council oversight. Earth's emissaries had pleaded their case, but the 17 species that comprised the Council had already decided humanity's fate. Banishment. Complete isolation from galactic civilization. Earth's coordinates were classified, trade routes severed, and a warning beacon placed at the edge of the Sol system. Quarantine zone, species under exile, approach forbidden. The Council had expected humanity to wither and die in isolation, perhaps to learn humility in their final years. They had catastrophically underestimated the human spirit. "Begin Phase 1, Sarah commanded. Across the fleet, captains who had never known Earth except through stories and simulations prepared for humanity's return to the galaxy. The first wave consisted of 500 ships, sleek destroyers and cruisers born in the asteroid forges of the belt, powered by fusion cores that burned cleaner and hotter than anything the Council had ever conceived. The humans had not spent 50 years in idle exile. They had built. The Resilience itself was a testament to human ingenuity under pressure. 3 kilometers of reinforced titanium carbon composite, bristling with weapons that the Council had banned as too destructive for civilized warfare. Particle beam arrays, gravity torpedoes, and point defense systems that could track and eliminate incoming fire with 97% accuracy. But the ships were only part of the story. "Sir," Communications Officer Park announced, "we're receiving confirmation signals from sleeper cells across 17 Council worlds. Operation Homecoming is a go." Sarah allowed herself a thin smile. The humans hadn't just built ships in exile, they had built networks. 50 years of careful infiltration, of humans passing as other species, of establishing businesses and relationships and gathering intelligence. The Council had forgotten that before the banishment, humans had been master diplomats and traders. Some of those skills had found new purposes. "What's the status on the Andromedan delegation?" Sarah asked. "The New Horizon reports successful contact," Torres replied. "The Andromedans are impressed by our proposals. They've agreed to observe." Observe. Such a diplomatic word for what was about to be the most significant shift in galactic power in a millennium. The Andromedans were the only force in the local galactic group that could challenge the Council's hegemony, but they had remained neutral for centuries. Until now. "Admiral," came the voice of Captain Maria Volkov from the Retribution. "Long-range sensors are detecting the Council's first fleet. They're moving to intercept us at the Kepler Junction." "Let them come," Sarah replied. "It's time they remembered why they were so eager to get rid of us in the first place." The truth was, the Council had banished humanity, not because they were truly dangerous, but because they were different. While other species had developed along predictable lines, specializing in trade or technology or warfare, humans had refused to be categorized. They had been diplomats and warriors, scientists and artists, explorers and builders all at once. That adaptability had terrified the Council's rigid hierarchy. "Fleet Admiral," her tactical officer reported, "the enemy formation is entering engagement range. 62 dreadnoughts, over 200 support vessels. They're broadcasting surrender demands." Sarah's laugh was sharp and without humor. "After 50 years, they still don't understand us. Open a channel to the Council fleet." The main screen flickered to life, showing the familiar form of Prex Valtar, the Velkari who served as the Council's Supreme Admiral. His scaled features showed the same arrogance that had condemned Earth decades ago. "Humans," Valtar's voice was filled with disdain. "You violate the terms of your exile. Surrender immediately, and your species will be granted a swift end rather than the slow extinction we had planned." Admiral Valtar, Sarah replied, her voice carrying across both fleets. 50 years ago, your council made a grave miscalculation. You assumed that isolation would break us. Instead, it freed us from your limitations. Around the Resilience, space began to shimmer as the rest of humanity's fleet dropped out of stealth. Not 500 ships, 3,000. The Council's forces found themselves outnumbered 5-1 by vessels that had been forged in the fires of exile and tempered by 5 decades of determination. You wanted humanity gone from your perfect, ordered galaxy, Sarah continued, her words being broadcast across every inhabited system within 100 light-years. But we were never the problem. We were the solution you were too afraid to embrace. Today we return not as supplicants but as equals. The age of the Council's tyranny ends now. The battle that followed would be remembered as the liberation of Kepler Junction. It lasted exactly 47 minutes. When the last Council ship surrendered, humanity's exile was officially over. But Sarah Chen knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was vast, filled with species yearning for freedom from the Council's oppressive rule. And humanity, stubborn, adaptable, relentlessly optimistic humanity, was ready to help them claim it. The Resilience set course for Earth, leading an armada that had been born from banishment and tempered by exile. Behind them, the galaxy would never be the same. Humanity was home.